It started so casually, like she was commenting on the weather. She stood by the sink, coffee mug gently in her hands, speaking as though we were discussing weekend plans, not dismantling a life. Her voice was calm, rehearsed, steady. "I'm going to spend a few days with Josh," she said, like she was reading off a receipt. It wasn't definite. She added, "Just a few days to figure things out. Then she'd decide. Not we. No apology, no emotion, just a simple statement, like she was giving notice on an apartment lease." I sat at the kitchen table, holding a half-buttered slice of toast. It was still warm. I didn't move, didn't blink. My brain refused to process the words. It was as if she were speaking a language I didn't want to understand. For a moment, I thought about asking her to repeat it, but I didn't. Part of me knew that once it was spoken twice, it would become real. So I stayed quiet and nodded. That seemed to throw her off. She tilted her head slightly, studying me. "Did you hear me?" My voice was even. "Yeah." She waited, her eyebrows lifted, expecting some kind of emotional reaction, anger, heartbreak, anything. When I didn't give it to her, I saw her tighten just a little. She sipped her coffee. She had prepared for this, probably imagined me shouting, pleading, breaking down. She had planned for drama, something to confirm she was on a brave quest for clarity, that she was evolving. "I'm not leaving forever," she said, like that made it better. "Just for a bit so I can think. We both can. You deserve honesty, and I need perspective." Perspective. One of those magazine cover words. I'd heard it before in podcasts and posts by self-styled healing experts. Still, I didn't say anything. I spread the butter all the way to the corners of my toast. She stared at me like I was malfunctioning. "Josh and I are just trying to see if what we have is real. If it's not, I'll come back. Then we'll talk. No pressure, just options." She kept calling it trial, like I was meant to sit here and wait while she sampled a beta version of cheating with the freedom to cancel before being charged. I knew Josh, not intimately, but enough. The type of guy who coasted through life on charm and carefully packaged vulnerability. The kind of man who wore phrases like "I've just never been understood," like cologne. The kind who called me bro to cover the fact that he was quietly hoping I'd disappear. My wife looked down. Maybe she thought I'd explode by now. But I wasn't angry, not in that moment. Not because I accepted it, but because when she called it trial, something shifted. She thought I was the one being left, waiting for her return. What she didn't realize was that she had just handed me all the power. I stood and rinsed my plate. "When are you leaving?" She blinked, maybe surprised by how normal my question sounded. "Tomorrow morning. I've already packed a small bag." Of course she had. She'd been packing this decision for weeks, maybe longer. The signs were all there: late-night walks, yoga pants making a reappearance. The phone always placed face down. "I'll take the car," she added quickly. "You can use the other one." "You're not flying?" "No. It's only a couple hours away. It's not a romantic thing." She hesitated. "We're not doing anything crazy." I didn't react. "I'll text when I get there." I nodded. She lingered, like she was waiting for something more. Anger, heartbreak, even a final plea. Instead, I gave her nothing. She sighed and turned away, like I was the unreasonable one. Later that night, while she was in the shower, I stood in the hallway looking at the bathroom door. Steam drifted from beneath it, like smoke from a fire I wasn't allowed to put out. Then I walked into the guest room and opened her suitcase. I didn't rummage, didn't touch a thing. I just added something, a small laminated note. She'd written it in lipstick on a napkin during our first anniversary dinner. I found it 2 days later, tucked in my coat pocket, and sealed it in plastic like a teenager trying to preserve a feeling. It said, "You're my home." I slipped it into her makeup pouch and zipped it shut. If she noticed it, maybe she'd feel something. And if she didn't, that told me everything I needed to know. She believed this was her decision, but she had no idea I'd already made mine. She left at 7:42 the next morning. Didn't finish her coffee. Her suitcase was in the trunk, hair curled but slightly rushed, like she was trying to look desirable without seeming like she was trying. She wore one of those outfits meant to seem effortless, but chosen with care. I walked her to the car in silence. She looked at me twice, searching for bitterness or sorrow. I offered neither. Instead, I opened her car door, kissed her cheek, and said, "Good luck." Her brow twitched in confusion. "Thanks," she said, cautious. "It's not goodbye." "No," I replied. "Not goodbye, just betrayal phrased politely." She drove off without waving. As soon as the car disappeared around the corner, I turned and locked the front door. Not because I thought she might come back, but because I was done leaving it open for someone who chose to walk out. Then I went to the computer. She'd never changed her passwords. I'd never used them before, never needed to, but now was different. Her shared photo cloud was still synced to her devices. 2 minutes, maybe less, and it was on my desktop. Most of it was ordinary, memes, yoga screenshots, selfies. Then one photo stopped me. Timestamp, 3:18 p.m. during a weekday. Her reflection in a hotel bathroom mirror, blouse unbuttoned halfway, lipstick in her hand, not explicit, just carefully posed for someone else. Then the messages. I didn't open them to snoop. I opened them to see clearly, to understand what had already happened. Josh, counting the hours. Tell me again how I'm better than him. Her, stop. You'll make me cancel dinner and come early. Josh, you should. Her, you're bad for me. But I'm so tired of being good. That was it. No more illusions. No more talk of space or clarity. This wasn't a trial. It was an audition. And I wasn't going to be in the audience when the curtains closed. I didn't reply. Didn't copy them. Didn't confront her. I didn't need to. I'd already started the process weeks ago, when things began to fade and the silence between us got louder. I met with 2 lawyers, one an old college friend, the other a recommendation from someone at the gym who'd survived a vicious split and came out clean. They both said the same thing. Act like it's over. If she comes back, you'll either be ready or already gone. So I acted. I separated our finances, updated insurance policies, forwarded tax notices to a P.O. box, shifted the foundation under her feet, without her ever noticing. Because this was never going to be about waiting for her to make a decision. It was about making mine. She had taken it. That's when I powered off my phone. I let her sit in the silence, stew in it. I wanted her to feel that gap, that space between action and consequence. I wanted her to start spiraling, to feel that unbearable itch of not knowing what I'd say, how I'd respond, or whether I'd respond at all. That night, when I finally turned my phone back on, there were 5 missed calls and 2 voicemails. One of them stood out. Her voice was soft, strained, not broken, just controlled, measured. "Look," she said, "I didn't know how to handle this. I was confused. I know how it looks, but it wasn't about choosing someone else. I needed to understand myself before I could fix us. Please don't throw everything away because of one bad decision. One bad decision. That's what they always call it. Like it's comparable to picking the wrong bottle of wine or forgetting an anniversary. But it wasn't a slip. It was planned. She coordinated it, lied about it, covered it with fake therapy sessions. She said it wasn't about someone else. But it was not just Josh. She chose herself. She chose a fantasy she believed she deserved over the life we had. And that's what stung the most. Not that she left, but that she assumed I'd still be waiting when she came back. I didn't respond that night. I didn't go home either. I stayed exactly where I was, 2 hours away in a hotel that smelled like clean linen and detachment. And the longer I stayed, the clearer everything became. Not just what she did, but what I wouldn't do anymore. I wouldn't be the loyal standby, waiting while she weighed which man gave her more butterflies. When I did return the next morning, the house was still. Her car was gone, but the kitchen lights were on. Her coat was slung over a chair. Her perfume hung in the air. She'd come back briefly, probably test the waters, maybe to consult her friend Rachel or check in with Josh. Maybe she'd expected a scene, an apology, a cry for negotiation. Instead, I sent one text. "You took your trial." I made my decision. That was it. I meant it. Later that night, there was a knock. I knew it was her before I checked. Through the peephole, I saw her standing there, phone in one hand, jacket clutched around her like a shield. She looked cold, or maybe just uncertain. She didn't knock again or call my name. She just stood there, waiting for me to open the door. But I didn't move, because in that moment, I understood something she hadn't yet figured out. She was still deciding if she wanted me, but I had already decided I didn't want her. She never came back after that night. Not really. Oh, she tried in her way. But the door had already closed. Not just a physical one she stood in front of that evening, but something deeper, something she'd assumed she could come and go from at will. Like a hotel suite booked under the name of forgiveness. It wasn't anger that kept me from opening the door. It was clarity. A few days later, she sent another text. Just one word. Please. No explanation, no follow-up, just that one fragile little plea. A word that assumed we were still tethered, still playing the same game. I looked at it for a while. My thumb hovered over the screen. Then I archived the conversation and deleted the thread. Not out of spite, not for revenge, for release. And just like that, it was over. Closure doesn't come like thunder. It slips in quietly when you no longer need to win. When you stop rehearsing speeches. When you pass the old wedding photo and feel nothing. Just a nod to a version of yourself that hadn't yet learned that loving someone doesn't mean they'll love you the same way in return. A week later, Rachel called. Didn't even pretend it was casual. Her tone was clipped brittle. She's falling apart. Not eating. She thinks you're punishing her. I let the silence hang. I'm not punishing her. I said, I'm just finished. Rachel pushed. Are you really? Or are you just trying to win? That made me laugh. Quietly. Wearily. She left, I said. I just chose not to be here when she came back. There was a pause. I heard her exhale. She thought you'd wait, she muttered. Yeah, I said. That's a problem. I hung up. That was the last time I spoke to either of them. The next month, I filed for divorce. I didn't wait for permission. Didn't discuss it. I just did it. Just like she packed her things and left that morning without asking if I was ready to be left. There were no dramatic court scenes, no teary confessions. Once she saw I wasn't bluffing, wasn't putting on a performance, she stopped trying. She signed the papers quietly. Some mutual friends tried to stay neutral, but neutrality doesn't last long when the truth starts surfacing. People began asking questions. Why did she leave? Who was Josh? Was that trial separation just a cover story? Eventually the truth got out. Not from me, from Josh. Turns out the fantasy didn't last. The man who encourages a married woman to cheat isn't exactly a prize. Catch once, she shows up with her suitcase and expectations. 3 weeks after she moved in with him, she moved out. He'd started pulling away. Sudden guy nights, new boundaries. She found a message on his phone from another woman that read, "She's not still living with you, right?" That's when her second life started to collapse. But I was already gone. I had sold the house, paid the early penalty on the mortgage, and left while she was busy juggling her mess. I took only what mattered, my tools, my guitars, the books I actually cared about. I bought a small place by the coast. 2 bedrooms. Simple. Now, when I open the windows, I hear gulls instead of guilt. When I walk through the door, it smells like coffee and with polish, not the perfume of someone who lied to my face for months. I kept it to myself for a while, but eventually people noticed. I showed up in photos again. I smiled. I lost weight, grew some facial hair. Someone on social media joked I looked 10 years younger, like I'd been on vacation. They didn't know I'd just finally come home to myself. As for Sarah, I don't know where she is now. Sometimes I think about the photo I left her, the lipstick one. I wonder if she kept it, wonder what I meant by it, what I wanted her to feel. But the truth is, I didn't want her to feel anything. I just wanted her to understand. This was never about choosing between 2 men. It was about whether she could abandon someone and expect to find him waiting. While she hesitated, I made the choice for both of us. And I never looked back. She didn't know about the backup box I'd set up. Digital, quiet, secure. I'd even called utility companies and revoked her access to our accounts. Her name still sat on the bills, but only for appearance's sake. I wasn't just reacting, I was preparing. The deeper I dug, the clearer things became. And then it got interesting. Josh wasn't some nameless affair. not a co-worker or a high school flame. I knew him. Not closely, not intimately, but well enough to remember years ago we nearly had a falling out after he made a careless joke about my wife. Not long after we got married. He worked in logistics. Used to date one of her friends. He was one of those guys, gym selfies, dramatic captions about loyalty while cheating on every woman who fell for his act. And now he was offering Sarah a future, a life built from the wreckage of mine. But I didn't feel rage, no heat, no wild grief. What I felt was sharper, controlled cold, like a blade that hadn't seen the light in years finally drawn clean from its sheath. Josh had no idea who I'd become after years of being taken for granted. And Sarah, she thought I was still the man she left in the kitchen the day she walked out. That was her misstep. I wasn't waiting for her. I wasn't mourning. I was calculating. By the second night, she stopped texting. Not even a courtesy check-in. No, oh, are you okay? Nothing. I figured she'd drop the act once she realized I wasn't playing the part of the devastated husband. She didn't want me. She wanted me to suffer, quietly, obediently, the way she needed me to be when she came crawling back from her fantasy weekend. But I wasn't suffering. I was building. That morning I sat in my lawyer's office, high-rise downtown, the kind of place where the air smells like old money and polished ambition. He slid a thick envelope across the desk with a knowing smile. It held the pre-filed documents, separation of assets. All it needed was my approval. Include the house, I said. He raised an eyebrow. You sure? Positive. It's not a home anymore. He nodded and pushed another envelope my way. She's been using your credit card. Yeah. This shuts that down. And this, he opened a small folder, is a draft custody outline. Just a formality. No kids, but it sets a tone. I appreciated the precision. Thanks, Darren. He smirked, just returning the favor. Remember what she said about my wife back in 16? I paused and smiled. Didn't realize you remembered that. She called her a step-forward drone with Botox cheeks, he said with a shrug. Let's just say I'm happy to help you land this one clean. And there it was, an unexpected betrayal. Not Darren's. Sarah's. The way she casually belittled people, never thinking she'd need them later. She'd been burning bridges for years and never looked back. On the drive home, curiosity led me past her sister's condo. And wouldn't you know it, Josh's car sat out front. Not at a hotel. Not tucked away at some discreet Airbnb. Her sister's place. And just like that, the distance Rachel had been keeping these past few months made sense. The clipped greetings at dinners. The dropped phone calls. I thought it was just family drift. Now I saw the truth. Rachel knew. Maybe not from the beginning, but definitely recently. She'd chosen sides. Believed she was helping Sarah through some personal growth moment. Supporting a woman's journey or whatever empty phrase Sarah had sold her. But in reality, it was a quiet conspiracy, a shared secret. They didn't just leave me out. They made me the punchline in the story. They already knew the ending, too. That night, I sent Rachel a message. Calm, measured. Saw Josh's car. Hope you're enjoying being part of Sarah's choice. Just remember, choices come with consequences. I didn't expect a reply. I knew she'd forward it to Sarah. That was the point. Sarah wouldn't read it as a warning. She'd see it as a chance to perform, to spin, to manipulate. I was counting on it. Back home, I pulled the hard drive from our security system. She didn't know the hallway camera had audio. I told her I'd disabled it years ago. She believed me. The night before she left, I'd been updating the system and noticed a timestamp that lined up with a phone call. Curiosity won. I hit play. Sarah's voice. He'll wait. He always does. He doesn't do anger. Not really. Josh's voice, faint. So we're in no rush then? Sarah again, no. I'll take a few days. When I come back, I'll confess. Ask for space. He'll be too shocked to say no. Josh, what if he doesn't want to stay? Sarah laughed. Please. He's a domestic dog. All bark, no bite. The screen flickered to black. I sat back in silence. Then I smiled. Not from joy, from clarity. She didn't know who I was anymore, but she would. The next morning I left. No warnings. No messages. Just packed a bag, took 3 vacation days, and checked into a quiet hotel a couple hours out. No calls, no texts, silence. I left her a clean house and a clear message, just not in words. On the kitchen island where we kept the spare keys, I left hers and took mine. Above the bowl, I taped a single printed screenshot, an image pulled from her cloud, her in the hotel mirror, half-button blouse, lipstick poised, not graphic, just enough, a timestamp, a moment she thought was private, no explanation, no accusation, just presence, proof. Let her feel what it's like to be seen, really seen. She came back on a Tuesday, not with drama or storms, just mid-morning, as if returning from a shopping run. I got the first text at 11:13. Hey, I'm back. I'd like to talk when you get a minute. No, I missed you. No, I'm sorry. Just cold precision. Control. At 11:19, the house feels weirdly empty. Are you running errands or something? By 12:02, why is your car not in the garage? And where's your office laptop? I smiled, not because it was funny, because now she felt imbalance. The chessboard had changed, and the pieces didn't match the game she'd rehearsed. Then came 12:13. Why would you do this? This is a violation. I trusted you not to. She had found the photo, the one from the cloud, the one she never thought anyone would see. Still no apology, no shame, just outrage. She wasn't angry that she betrayed me. She was angry I had caught her. She still thought she was the one pulling strings. But the curtain was down now, and the play was over.